So some people talk a little bit about the new head coach of Carolina football, Bill Belichick. Don't know if you heard of him.
Who?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, that's right.
He seems to draw some attention. Perhaps it's the 8 Super Bowl rings, 6 as a head coach with the New England Patriots that he has earned throughout his career. But also with a tremendous amount of attention comes a tremendous amount of scrutiny. Many have talked about UNC not having named their starting quarterback yet publicly and what that could do and why not. And what does that say about Gio Lopez? Does it make his job more difficult if he becomes the starter? And on and on and on and on. So our colleague at WRAL, Pat Welter, under our Capital Broadcasting company umbrella here, at one of Bill Belichick's media availabilities, asked him about the starting quarterback competition and if he would name a starter and all the questions that we have. And here's Bill Belichick's response.
Yeah, we're getting ready to do that this afternoon to announce the starting lineups and the play times and how we'd be substituting everything. So Brandon will get that to you as soon as we get done. We want to make sure we get that out there right away.
I'm sensing sarcasm. Did Bill Belichick just tell a joke?
Hey, Bill got jokes. He was even laughing, smirking, and smiling a little bit. I was ready for the come in.
Hey, Bill Belichick, a guy walks into a bar. Ouch. Come on, there it is. Hey, knock, knock.
Who's there?
Nobody.
Nobody who?
There it is.
See, there we go.
First of all, you're answering a question that wasn't asked, Bill. We don't need to know the whole starting lineup. We don't need to know your substitution plans. We're not asking for something ridiculous, which is what that joke was made out to be. Like, oh, you're asking, sure, why don't I just open up practice to everybody? Why don't I just invite TCU to our team meetings? Why don't I just, like, well, no, we're asking you to do what 95% of other schools have already done. Tell us who's going to be your starting quarterback. Unless you're saying what everybody else has done is completely ridiculous. No. There are benefits to naming a starting quarterback. It's not as ridiculous as he's making it out to be there. And we weren't asking for everything that he said. Although I do appreciate Bill Belichick showing some personality and yucking it up with our guy Pat Welter. But the question was not a ridiculous one to defend our guy Pat Welter. The other person from UNC that spoke to the media, matter of fact, spoke to our very own Adam Gold yesterday right here on this network, is, I guess, Bill Belichick's boss?
For the time being?
Bubba Cunningham, who has, for the time being, is an apt addition there from Dennis. It's already been announced that there is a transition of power. He is the athletic director at the moment for Carolina, but there's a time where that will expire, and then he will turn into some kind of an analyst consultant, and somebody else will sit in the athletic director chair. Bubba Cunningham was asked about exploring how UNC can add revenue in different ways, right? All this business talk around college sports now. Here's Bubba's answer.
You know, Rick Bearcat, now we hired a couple of months ago and is doing a terrific job thinking about what are those opportunities that, quite frankly, we've passed on in the past.
Mm-hmm.
They've been sitting there available, and we've just chosen not to do it. When Holden was here, Holden Thorpe, he said very early, I'd rather take an ad than drop a sport. And so I think that's kind of the mentality that we're in right now is let's drive revenue so that we can continue to support these 800 kids and 28 teams. So, it's a choice. And if you can afford to not do it, wonderful. And we've been able to afford it for a long time in not taking a lot of the additional advertising. But that day has come and gone. So we have to figure out what are the new revenue streams that we've said no to, and now we'll say yes to.
Do you know what I think is going to be really tough for athletic directors and athletic programs? Is deciding what business changes are necessary and what business changes are going to be seen as insulting to your fan base. Because Bubba put it right there, right? These were like revenue avenues that we had available to us that we chose not to pursue until now, right? Obviously, there's a premium on cash. You have to come up with an extra $20.5 million if you want to go ahead and pay your players the full amount that you are allowed to under the rules for revenue sharing. So now they're going to start, tapping into some of those revenue areas. But I always go back to like the remember when we used to go to the grocery store and you could take as many plastic bags as you wanted, right? You'd fill them up, and then at some point, certain grocery stores suddenly were like, "Are you going to be using our bags? How many?" And you got to it's like a nickel a bag, and it's just like, wait a second. This was free my entire life. Why am I paying for it now? It turns out it was like environmental and stuff. Or the same thing happened at some fast foods, right? You used to order some chicken. Guess what? Would you like ketchup? Would you like ranch? Would you like barbecue? You'd let them know. They'd throw it in the bag. And then eventually some of them were like, each additional one will be another 65 cents. And I'm like, wait a second. It was free. But guess what? You get used to it if you like the product, right? Mm-hmm. So for a college football program, it's all right. Spring game used to be free. Now we're charging $10, right? This used to be something that we would just add into your ticket. Now you got to pay for it. These avenues and these different deals, is it a deal breaker where you're going to lose fans because of it, or is it a true just pure revenue opportunity that you can tap into and nobody will get mad at you? Or is it a on-ramp deal where it's going to take some time? And then once you gather that money, who gets it? Right? Because listen to what Bubba says here about balancing out the funding of all sports. Remember, schools get $20.5 million to share in revenues with their players. They get to pay their athletes, but that's for all sports, and each school gets to divide it up how they see fit. Here's Bubba Cunningham on balancing out funding all sports.
The economic model is important, and 28 teams, it is a challenge financially. And what we're seeing right now is more institutional support for intercollegiate athletic programs. The recognition that two sports generate all the money, and the revenue share that we've had previously is sharing revenue among all the sports. Now the question is, if those sports are important, how important are they to the institution? And is the institution willing to assist in supporting some of the sports that have to be subsidized? Football and basketball, particularly at Carolina, are always going to generate enough money to cover their own costs.
Right.
Now the question is, how do we cover the other 26? And so I do think that's really important.
There's two ways to look at that, right? One is going along with kind of common sense thinking, right? Football, men's basketball, women's basketball, that's where most of the money should be going. Do you know what I think is going to be interesting? Is how much you are increasing prices for things that aren't those schools. You have a big baseball game and you up ticket prices, and then the money doesn't go to the baseball program because that athletics revenue is going to the other sports. How does that go over? There's a lot of decisions to be made by where's the money coming from and where is it going. And I don't think, right, when this is such a new world, I don't think anybody's going to get it right the first time. I think this year there's going to be some kind of plan, and you're going to execute it the best you can. And then next year, you're going to go, you know what? Got to take a little bit more money from here. Got to give a little bit more money there. Got to do it this way. Got to do it that way. We didn't really know what we were doing the first time because nobody did. Take notes, right? Like I said, that's my piece of advice to everyone in college sports. Take notes. What do you think's going well right now? What do you think's going poorly right now? We have ready for this? Ready for this transition? This radio segue? We have our second annual numbers game live tonight. And guess what? When we did our first annual numbers game live last year, you take notes. Where could we have been more efficient? What went well? What didn't go well? You keep the good, you replace the bad. Same is true for this. This is the first year of revenue sharing. Take notes. What went well? What went poorly? Keep the good, get rid of the bad. Hopefully you improve faster than your competition.